Okay, let's go.
He wants to jump
1,000 cars. Sir, you have 1,000 cars.
I don't think I'd attempt to try this stunt.
Or we owe this horsepower to Uncle Sam. Too many
Car. Roses would be...
Like I put my beer belly on it.
If you can't immediately tell somebody how many cars you have.
You'll really give those uppity yuppies something to think about.
Stay on the bar. Don't go off the bar with your Bronco. 1980 Volvo horns. What's right? I want a man's coolant.
And he's like, oh, I thought it'd be small. It's for a small car. And I'm like, yeah, but it's still an automatic transmission. They're never going to be light.
It's definitely going to have to crash.
Starting off with Brad buying another car.
That's the West. Internet.
Is this a Nigerian oil print?
I also wish you drove a tan Camry.
Anyways,
Anyway,
that's a
horrible,
very
horrible podcast content.
very
Talking about a picture.
inside joke.
It loves to be driven hard.
Welcome to Auto Off Topic. Hello, Brad.
Good afternoon, Andrew. How are you? I had to check the calendar there. The calendar. What do you call that thing with time? Clock.
Yeah.
I checked the clock. I wasn't sure what time it is because we are recording on a Sunday, so it's not automatically going to be evening because normally we record after work. But we didn't this week because you were busy doing project car stuff, which we'll get to eventually.
Well, yeah, it's evening here.
I mean, it's kind of evening here. It's 5:30 or something,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah, the time changed now.
I'm just saying it's not automatically evening when we're recording on a Sunday. It could be any time.
Wait, how does it work? Is there still light there where you are?
Yeah, we keep it from you. We steal it.
Ah.
Actually, that's how the time works. Yeah.
It just goes that way.
Well, listen, the West is full of cops and sheriffs and bad guys. And the bad guys steal the sun from you guys every day, and the sheriffs on horseback win it back for you for tomorrow morning.
Okay. Sure.
That's how it works. That's what we've told children before because they believe it.
Okay.
And it's funny. And then we correct them, obviously, because we don't want them to grow up as idiots. So,
Well,
anyway, yes, it is still daylight here. I was just out back in the garage watching the NASCAR race because I have TV in the garage now,
TV
which has
in it.
cable. Pretty amazing. And there was somebody else who is currently staying at our house who was big into basketball, who was watching March Madness on our living room TV. So I was like, you know what? This is a perfect reason to go watch the race in the garage. So I did. I sat on one of the Recaro LSs that I have to restore and comfortably sat there and watched the race in the garage while sipping a garage seltzer. Everything just becomes called garage, whatever it is, when it's in the back garage. I don't know why that is. I don't know if that will ever stop, but I'm enjoying the novelty of garage things at the moment. So I sat in the garage chair and drank a garage seltzer and watched the garage TV.
cool. The I don't know, what should we do? Should we do project car updates first, or do you want to do motorsport stuff first? Get that out of the way.
Let's get through the NASCAR stuff first, because I think both of us just watched the race because it is Sunday, so it's fresh on the brain.
I tried. I tried to watch F1. I do not understand the appeal. I do not understand why people think it's some superior form of motorsport. They literally, I turned it on. It was like 36 laps in of 56. Okay. Chinese Grand Prix. They showed the leader for like one shot, and then basically never again because nothing was happening. Nobody was challenging the leader. It was the two McLarens from the front. I think it was Lando Norris or something. Then they would just show like passes for like 10th, 11th. 13th.
I mean, they have to show the pass where it happens. I think the problem, Andrew, is you watch the Chinese Grand Prix. You want to watch the knockoff Chinese version of the Grand Prix.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm like, was it Temu F1? It was terrible. I don't
know. I didn't watch it. I don't watch it. I have the same thought process as you. Every time I tried to watch it, I don't get it. I will say that if you want to get into F1 and you want to watch everything and be totally fully engaged in it, I think it probably makes more sense. I did watch, I don't know,
I don't
what was
think
it,
so.
a year ago or so? Well, it was a year ago or so. I was in Ohio with our friend and former guest, Bradley, and I watched qualifying with him. And the qualifying was super fun to watch because the cars go out on like full on 10/10 attack.
Okay, sure.
And you watch the reactions of the other teams as they get beat or they don't get beat. And that was cool to
So
watch.
that's time attack. That's totally different.
100%. That was super cool to watch. But then we watched the ice race and I was just like, I don't get it.
I don't get it either. They're
Not nearly as exciting.
They're like in 10 seconds, this person's going to overtake them because they're just looking at numbers and stats. It's like, okay. And then the biggest
car racing for nerds.
And then the biggest thing was that
I don't know why we
Verstappen passed Leclerc for fourth. For fourth was the biggest thing of the race. Like, come on!
That's why you have to be fully into it, Andrew.
No,
you have to
it's
care about that
terrible.
point.
I don't
from
understand.
fifth to fourth. Yeah, it's not for us.
The cars aren't even close to each other. They're just literally cruising around, and then maybe a couple people pass in the back.
So let's move on to cars driving in circles and only turning left and being boring to everybody else.
I don't know how
NASCAR.
people can talk crap on it because, sure, it has its problems, but things are happening on track. And
cars are exploding and catching on fire.
Unfortunately, they ran
spinning in the pits.
Yeah. Unfortunately, they ran Indy at the same exact time, so that's on DVR. And I haven't watched it yet. I know.
I also have not.
Halfway through the broadcast, I guess the power went out at the track, so like the broadcast cut. So we'll see how the DVR handled that. But
I have some issues with the IndyCar race being where it was anyway.
Yes, I heard it was a decent race, but just from reading. But we'll see. I don't want to talk about it because I haven't seen it, so I'll probably try to watch a recap. We'll talk about it later, the next podcast.
Yeah,
but anyway,
I'll probably watch the whole race because I'm going back to the garage to do garage things afterwards, and I'll probably put it back on the TV because I recorded it for sure.
I started watching Saturday morning, and it's probably a recap. It's like a 3 or 4 hour long race. It was one of the first. They do a series at the Nürburgring to build up to the Nürburgring 24-hour race of sports car racing. That's pretty cool. So it's another thing you could put on in the garage because it's literally like 200 cars out on the track at once.
Where's that broadcast?
YouTube.
Just YouTube?
Yep, NLS.
Okay.
I'll send it to you afterwards. Or it's if you come to our Discord, we have a nice motorsport channel. The link is in there. It was to the live event, but it's probably now on there as a video you can watch.
Yeah, they usually leave them on there as a video you can watch.
But that's cool because like the top cars are like GT3 class cars, and then it goes down to like street cars turned into race cars, which is really cool.
Those always been my favorite cars.
Because you're like, well, yeah, if I lived around the Nürburgring, I'd probably drive it a lot, and I could just drive one of these street cars that's also a race car and be like, yeah, I raced the Nürburgring. 100%. But anyway.
The problem is, I think if I lived at the Nürburgring, I would be dead by now. So
I don't think so. You'd probably be really good driving the Nürburgring. But anyway.
Yeah, I feel like it's one of those things that if you do it all the time, you just push until you push beyond limits.
Yeah.
So
the so the NASCAR race at Miami Homestead, it's a cool track. It's fast. It's 1.5 miles.
I don't think it's an exciting race usually though.
Yeah, last year was particularly exciting. This year was decent. I watched. We were having family dinner, so it was just kind of on in the background. So I really only got to watch like the last stage. I know Blaney won the first stage, had a mega fast car. I think
too fast for its own good.
Yeah. I think that was when Bell spun in the beginning, which was kind of weird, right?
Yeah. There were only 2 cautions for reason. One was Bell's random spin, and the other one was for Blaney later on for that engine failure. So,
yeah,
it was a pretty clean race overall. I mean, there was some pit road contact and bumping and whatnot, and Suarez spun entering the pits at one point, but none of that through the yellow. So, and 2 cars, I think Logano and I don't remember who else, came together on pit road and spun each other into their pit boxes. So they had to pit with their cars facing the wrong direction, which I learned today is not a penalty.
Yeah. Because somebody pitted in the wrong pit box last week, but
So last week it was the 19 car. Is that Briscoe?
Yeah.
I think it was Briscoe. Maybe not Briscoe. Whoever it was, they were pulling out of their pits, and the team noticed that the lug on the left rear was loose.
Mhm.
So he pulled into his teammates' pits, and they tightened it up. Which maybe you didn't catch it on the broadcast. They brought that up today.
tire changes were okay, but not adjustments.
It was tire changes are not okay. But what was okay was
Retightening it?
if it's a repair for safety.
Okay.
Like if it's a safety concern, like he couldn't drive out. If he drove out in the track, did a lap, came back in to fix it, there would have been a tire off on the track, and they were avoiding getting that penalty.
That's a worse penalty.
So because they were avoiding getting that penalty, they were allowed to stop in the teammate's box and tighten the lug on, and there was no penalty. So that's good. That's common sense, right? And today's was the two cars spun into their pit box, and they were facing the wrong direction, but they were in their own pit box. And NASCAR was like, nope, that's cool. They're in their own pit box. It'll be more dangerous to try to turn the cars around during pit road action, obviously. So
yeah, it's just going to ruin your pit stop. Your pit stop's ruined anyway. So
it was a 35 second pit stop for both cars. So
yeah, because you got to wait now
penalty enough
for everybody to clear pit lane, and then you can flip it around.
Yep. Yeah. By the time they were set up in their pits, the pit lane was pretty clear anyway. But yeah, it was again, it's common sense. Like most penalties have common sense behind them. Like there's a reason you can do something or can't do something. So, but yeah, it was a fun race.
So after the last Homestead race, I was really hoping for Reddick to come out real strong, but no such luck for him. He was fast, but not
so
that
was
fast.
Reddick had a really bad first and second
Yeah.
stage, and he just didn't recover. He was fast in the third stage, did not recover. His teammate, however, Mr. Wallace, had a hell of a race.
Yeah, but just got out just a little too early. It's like, you know, when you see like somebody running pretty strong and there's like 50, 60 laps to go, you're like, I don't know.
Yeah, they're not going to win.
Yeah, it's unusual for them to win. You got to be leading in the last 30 to 10 laps.
I have to wonder, because every time they were talking about Larson and they were talking about long run versus short run,
sandbagging,
and that Larson's car is not that he's sandbagging, but his car comes to him as the run goes on. Like maybe there's something he has in his repertoire and what he knows where
sets up
when he does set up, he sets it up so that the car is looser with fresh tires or tighter with fresh tires or whatever. And as those tires, I guess for lack of a better word, season in, the car gets faster than everybody else. It seems to be how, yeah, that's probably a better word. Listen, I'm hungry, apparently, Andrew. As the race goes on, the car comes to itself, whereas other cars are falling off. And maybe Bubba's setup was better. It was definitely better for the short run because he was super fast. He had the fastest car on the track by multiple miles per hour at times.
Blaney did. And it was like, all right,
Yeah.
Blaney's definitely going to go to the front of this race. It was around 50, 40 laps to go.
I think it was 50
and the
to
thing
go.
Just blew up, like no warning.
To the moon. Yeah.
We've talked about this because last year there was one or two cars, like I think Reddick's car blew up at one point. It's like super unusual to see mass cars blow up.
Well, this was the second one this year, and last time it was also Blaney.
Yeah.
So one of his engine builders was absent on one important day of school, I think. I'm not sure what it was yet, but we'll have to figure it out.
What did you say his car looked like?
It looked like the Hellman's mayonnaise car.
Yeah, it was Dent Wizard, but yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
I kind of see that. Yeah. It definitely
Google
looked
a
like
picture of the Hellman's mayonnaise race car, and it's the exact same livery, just instead of saying Dent Wizard, it says Hellman's mayonnaise.
Yeah, well, it definitely had mayonnaise coming out of the pipes. Like,
100%. Yeah. That was a good setup, Andrew. I appreciate that. I didn't know where you were going with that, but I appreciate that. Yeah, it was a mess. Yeah, it was cool. The in-car was neat because a lot of times you'll watch a car blow up and they'll show the in-car camera and it'll be like a catastrophic sound.
Nope.
And this one here was just kind of like, bleh.
Yeah.
Nothing. Just there was nothing. Just no hiccup, no bang, no nothing. Just the car just shut off. And obviously it was catastrophic because the amount of fluid that was on the ground around the car was every fluid that belongs inside the engine, radiator, and coolers of all sorts, just all on the ground. So there must be a massive hole in the side of that motor somewhere.
Yeah.
So for it to blow up quietly was odd. And then it was on fire for what I consider to be way too long in the pits.
Yeah, I mean, there's tire rubber in there, carbon. That stuff was just burning. So, yeah, that was a bummer. But yeah, you know, our least favorite fast driver, Larson, ended up winning. Because towards the end, well, first of all, I get a little ahead of ourselves here. Bowman passed Wallace, which those two cars looked rad on the track, like they matched the track.
Yep, perfectly.
Bowman
Which I'm sure is on purpose.
But he just couldn't. He couldn't ride the wall like Larson does, and lost some speed. And Larson capitalized on it, and then, man, he just rides inches from that wall. And
well, another they were saying in the broadcast, which makes sense, is that he rides the wall so close, and the car is faster because of it, and he is, like you said, 2 inches off the wall. So what happens is he's faster up there because of the way the air pocket works.
Yep.
So, but he's so good at it that he forces people in front of him to also drive that same line who aren't as adept at keeping it exactly 2 inches off the wall. And inevitably, they fold to the pressure and they hit the wall, which is what happened to Bowman. He hit the wall much harder than Larson sometimes scrapes it, but Bowman like ate it and scrubbed off probably 6 miles an hour. And that's all it takes.
So Larson won the cup race, which brings me back to, I just happened to Friday night turned on the last, I don't know, 40, 50 laps of the truck race. Because I was like, oh, I want to kind of catch up with trucks because I'm going to go watch them they're going to be at Lime Rock in June. So I think it's Corey Haim right now is like the hot trucks driver. But I guess they changed the rules a little bit. So like cup drivers are only allowed to drive a certain amount of lower level races. So
Correct.
In the truck race on Friday, you had notable cup drivers Larson and Chastain. And then the rest were like, I think mostly just truck regulars. And Chastain was incredibly fast. It was like, but his truck was like all over the place.
Fast and loose.
Yeah, this guy Corey Haim, who's apparently had won the last 2 or 3 races, and is super fast, was like out front, kind of leading, and then the truck was like shutting down, and he would get it to refire. It was crazy. You watch it, the thing would shut down. He'd fall off the pace. He refired it quick enough that he didn't really lose much positions. Like fell back to like 4th, and then drove up to the front again, and then the thing shut off. Meanwhile, like earlier in the race, Larson spun, and you're like, he's kind of out of it. Larson's like crawling back up again, riding the wall, and the trucks are even more interesting because when you see them on an oval, they're definitely wedge shaped, right? They're not symmetrical at all.
I was surprised how much more material there is in the right side of the truck.
Yeah, and it's like, so that back right quarter is definitely closer to the wall than the front right.
By like 6 or 7 inches. It's a noticeable amount.
And yeah, there's some sort of, the way the draft works, you can get up there and you could watch it. Like Larson was like gaining so hard on people. And these guys were like maybe a quarter truck width off the wall. And Larson's like on the wall and just like probably had 10 miles an hour on him, maybe more.
Yeah, he made up like, it was something ridiculous, like 7 seconds in 20 laps.
Like 20 positions, I think.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
All the way to the front. And the only one that could have won that had a equally as fast truck was Corey Haim if the thing hadn't been shutting down. Wild. So I know, like, there was talk Larson was trying to go for win every race this weekend. Something happened in the Xfinity race. He didn't win. I don't know. I didn't watch it, but
There was a final restart, and he got bumped too hard on the restart, and it lifted his rear off the ground, so he had no traction to drive off the line, and that's it. Didn't make up for it.
He's a racer. It's mildly annoying. He's not
Sure.
a great person off the track, but
You can't take away his skill. He has skill. And skill plus driving for Hendrick Motorcars, which is one of the more legacy money-spending teams. He has the best equipment, and he's the faster driver, and that combination is deadly.
Yeah.
So
I said this to someone online. At least like Austin Dillon sucks on and off the track.
right,
Like someone that's just
all the tie too. Yeah. Like they're both just terrible.
But
Larson, whatever you will say about Larson, he's not a Dillon. He's not a nepotism driver, right?
And he won't
there because
he doesn't race dirty either.
As a general rule, he doesn't race dirty. He will not back down if pushed, but he's not dirty for sure.
He did do Hamlin a favor today, but that probably would have collected him and Hamlin. So,
yeah, no question. They both went out of it. But Wallace finished third, so
yeah,
he's had an excellent year for stage 1 and stage 2, but he's had horrible luck in stage 3, so
he's going to win.
This was inevitable to happen. He's got to win something this year. Absolutely going to. His car has been out front so much. He just had some real nasty luck in stage 3 of the last few. And I was I was flipping through Instagram the other day, and I follow Bubba Wallace's page, and I was surprised but happy. I didn't know I could be more of a fan of the guy because I like him on and off the track. But also, it turns out he was posting music to his Instagram feed, and he was pushing a new album that he was listening to and saying it was amazing. And it was from the band Sleep Token. And I was like, oh, he also likes progressive metal? This guy's cool. So, cool guy. So I want to see him win, for sure.
I'm just going to stop wearing Trackhouse shirts on Sundays. They had a horrible day.
Yeah, it was not a good day for Trackhouse.
But anyway.
Yeah, it was a good race. Not the most exciting race. More exciting than F1. But overall, a good race. A lot of good strategy stuff. They were talking about different pit strategies, splitting the stage in half versus running along the beginning or end of the stage. And then it didn't much matter in the last stage because there was a wreck that everybody just pitted on. So I still would like to see some more tracks with multiple tire choices. I think that mixes up the field a little bit more. But overall, I am not disappointed with anything except for who won the race this weekend. It was good.
Yeah.
Good time overall.
I bet this race would have been different with 2 tire choices.
Hugely different, for sure.
Yeah. There's also WRC Kenya. I'll have to watch some recaps of that. I just saw pictures of it. There's some insane stage jump like on day 1.
Oh, the cars almost landed in a tree.
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. I think that was beginning of day 2, I think, wasn't it?
Something like that.
Yeah. I watched stage 1 and stage 2 recaps. It's probably my own failings in my head, but I have a hard time remembering which drivers are in which cars because there's like three identical cars for each team.
Yeah. There's a lot of teams.
And it's hard for me and there's no difference. Like in NASCAR, you have, Trackhouse or 2311, and all 3 cars have different sponsors and different logos and different paint schemes, but all 3 of the WRC cars are the same livery. So I have a hard time following it. It's fun to watch no matter what, because they're rally cars going nuts in the mud in Kenya. So, but yeah, I have a hard time following it and keeping up with what's going on or remembering what I saw. But that's just me. I'm sure if I spent some more time getting back into it, I could probably get there, but it's definitely also better than F1.
Yeah.
So.
All right.
But so is watching paint dry.
Yeah.
So.
Project car updates.
Why don't you start? Because I know you have a big one.
Yeah. So we're talking about the engine block came back from the machine shop for the Volvo. Coming up on the 1 year anniversary of that car, right? Looked at it on Easter for me.
It was
And,
actually Easter Sunday. Yep.
and then I didn't get to it until like October, taking it apart. So,
Well, I mean, that's not entirely your fault because for like a month or so, it was just sitting here in Arizona and you couldn't do much.
yeah. It wouldn't have done much anyways, because it comes to find out that engine had zero compression through
Yes.
no fault of anything you tried to do. Like, you tried your best, but it wasn't like there was no saving it.
Nope. Seemed like it should be savable, but it was not savable.
It wasn't. So anyway, yeah, it came back. It's gorgeous. Machine shop is R&L Engines up in Dover, New Hampshire. Not many places doing machine work anymore. These guys are doing really nice work. It was not inexpensive, but it's also really nice work. So the other weekend we were like, all right, my dad and I were like, all right, let's put the crank in. So, get the block all set up, put all the bearings in, all the mains, go to drop the crank in. All right, it doesn't fit. Okay. It's hanging up on the thrust bearing in the back. So that's number 5. I'm like, all right, pull the crank back out. Put the 2 pieces of the bearing around the crank on the bench, and it's like zero clearance. Like that's not going to work at all. Like it's a funny thing when you don't know anything about engines. You're like, all right, I guess everything's tight, right? When an engine goes together, but no, that's not true. Everything has to have clearance so it can actually spin. So we're like, all right, let's stop here. I emailed the machine shop, see what they wanted to do, because I didn't know if you take material off the bearing or if they wanted to machine the crank a little bit more on the thrust faces. He ended up calling me back, and he's like, this is just easier to explain via phone. He's like, why don't you bring the bearing up here? I'll throw it in the CNC. You take a little bit of material off. Like, old school way of doing it is if you put it on a piece of flat material and you could actually sand take like 400 grit sandpaper and like sand off some of the material. He's like, that's not great. It starts to go sideways. We'll put it in the CNC. It'll be perfect. So my dad's retired. Sent him up there on a mission. They did it while he waited. Just took a few thousandths off the bearing. You take it off on the side that is, so you've got the side where the clutch would be, and then the side where that's internal to the engine. So you take it off on that side. And yeah, that's all it took. So we got it back. You'd clip it back on there. It had just enough. It was like, it took off like 5 thousandths, something really small. Had enough clearance.
So it was an error on their part?
No, he's like, it just happens sometimes with these aftermarket bearings. He's like, we see it a lot with the import bearings. Because the crank was ground 10 thousandths. So then you buy oversized bearings to make up for that. But I think what happens is probably the way they make these bearings. They're oversized in all directions. So not only was it oversized on the main bearing face in the back, it was oversized on the thrust face. And
Interesting. That'd be very frustrating if you were trying to do everything yourself and didn't have this shop already on the hook there. Like,
well, I couldn't have ground a crank myself. That's not possible. You cannot do that.
Right.
So,
but I was saying, if you bought a part for what was, I don't know, it seems odd that it wouldn't be what it said it was.
Yeah, it sometimes just stuff has to be fit. It's like when you get rings, you have to fit them, even though they're the right size for the pistons. They still have to be fit. So, yeah, once that was all set up, we put the crank in, torque down the mains. It's great. It spins the way it should. We also checked the oil clearances with some plastic gauge, just confirm that it's perfect. It's right on the money. So, next step was, we've been doing this a couple of days in between things. We come back to it. we got to put I already put the pistons on the connecting rods. Those were easy. They just snap in on the pins. They're not press fit ones or anything. So now we need to fit the rings. So you do that, even though the pistons are 30 thousandths over, and the rings are 30 thousandths rings. You still need to fit the little gap clearance for the rings. So those, we kind of looked at what the service manual had for a gap, and then the rings came with instructions. So we kind of went with it's a slightly smaller gap that came with the ring instructions, because eventually, as those bores wear, that ring gap will open up a little bit. So that takes some time. My dad's done a bunch of those. So you basically just shove the ring into the cylinder. We took one of the old pistons, and you just kind of make sure it's parallel in the cylinder. Use the feeler gauge. Oh, it's got no clearance. Kind of knew that. The first one took the time to get dialed in, and then once we were going, the other three went a lot quicker. And you put them in that little grinder doohickey for rings, which is kind of fun. You crank it and take a few thousandths off, check it. Oh, a little more. Take a little more off. We got them down to 14 thousandths, right where we wanted them. So you do that for all the rings. The top ring, the middle ring, the oil control rings were fine, so didn't have to do that. It's pretty easy to put rings on the piston. I kind of forgot. I hadn't done it in a long time. Use the little ring spreader, popped them on. You adjust the gaps so they're opposite. Then we use the ring compressor and get my new bearings in the control rods and the connecting rods, and hammered them in the block. So now the block has pistons and rods in it. So next step is probably tomorrow night. We're gonna lube up the cam, because the machine shop already put the cam bearings in for me, because that's kind of a pain to try to get in there and put cam bearings. So I had them do that work, but now we're gonna put the cam in, and then work on doing the timing gear set. And interestingly, I had ordered the head gasket from Kinetic, and they said 4 or 5 week lead time because they make them. But I got an email from them the other day that there's a UPS tracking number shipping. So supposedly I'll have that this week. So maybe if we get moving along enough, I'll have the head on, because there's no, unlike an overhead cam engine, the head can basically go on once we set the timing up, and you can leave the valve train loose, so the valves will just be closed. It's probably easier to do it that way, and then you drop the lifters in and the push rods in, and put the rocker shaft back on. That's pretty much the engine. The rest is going to be just bolting on ancillary things. I'm going to have to check and clean the oil pump. I need to clean the oil pan and repaint it red. I'm going to order a new fuel pump. That seems silly to put the old one on there, because I don't know how old it is, and it's been sitting with ethanol gas in it maybe for a while.
It's a mechanical pump, I assume.
Yeah, it's easy enough just to.
And it's been in the desert for long enough. We know how that goes.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. All your stories, a couple of you guys with mechanical pumps breaking. I'm I'll just put a new one on. It's not terribly expensive. Clean the distributor, put that back on. I got a lot of the gaskets, so that's gonna pretty much. The engine's gonna be pretty much together. It's not a super complicated engine. I got new head bolts for it. I'm going away for a little bit. We'll talk about that, and when I come back, I'll have to clean up the carbs, and I'll have to figure out carb linkage and get in the engine in the car. I'll probably put it in without the transmission, and we'll probably run it first without the transmission, because you don't really need it back there to get it running. Plus, I'll have to figure out exhaust and stuff. But
right,
it's coming along. It's
no, that's huge progress. I'm super excited. I think I mentioned last week I'm probably going to be there in June, so it sounds like it might be possible that we can take a rip in the Volvo.
Yeah, it'll either be done or maybe finishing it up, because I don't know. I'm going to have to source all the linkage stuff used. So
That'd be pretty epic if I was there for the initial drive.
yeah, we'll
So,
see. That's what I'm going for. I'm trying to get it going in May. You know, I definitely want to use it this summer. So, you know, I'm not like,
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, I don't have like a hard deadline. If I don't finish this car, I have to sell my house.
We're gonna lose the shop.
Yeah, but I would like to have it, you know, running and driving for the summer. So that's
Excellent.
That's those are my project car updates. That's why we've been
That is
delayed.
incredible updates. That's good.
Oh.
That's what we want to hear.
And the other reason why we missed a recording night was I was going to help one of our guests, Jared. He's local to me. He's got an 2008 Acura TSX. It needs an exhaust. Well, one of the mufflers fell off. So we got a nice used exhaust off Facebook. It's like a Revel or something. It's like a Tanabe version. It's like a copy. I forget now. It's a nice stainless exhaust. And we're like, all right, it's just a cat back. This shouldn't be too bad. Put it up on my dad's lift. We're looking at it. And sure enough, at some point in the car's life, somebody replaced the cat with an aftermarket one and
So no flanges.
Yeah, adjusted the way the flanges are. And this cat back would not work. So we came up with a new plan. He's going to get a stock replacement type cat. And we can attach that to the manifold coming off the engine. And then we can do the cat back. So we'll have an update on
So now it's a cat and cat back.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
which is probably good. I mean, I'm sure that cat's old and replacing it's probably not a bad deal.
He also just wanted to make sure that, you know, he had it at some shop and they made it sound like the exhaust was going to fall off. We're like, no, it's not going to fall off. It's fine. He'd be fine for another 2 years. It's also not even that loud. It's weird. It lost one muffler, but
it's got two mufflers. Right?
Yeah.
So one muffler's still working hard.
Yeah.
So that's fine.
But he could literally get a sticker and he wouldn't, like in Massachusetts, wouldn't be a big deal.
Jared has the distinction of being our first guest.
He does. So
yeah. And at the time he lived sort of close, but now he lives right around the corner from you.
Yeah.
So very cool.
So
very, very cool. So so project cars on this side of the world. Let me start with the bonus project car. I got a call yesterday. I was up in Prescott yesterday morning, which is not close to Phoenix. It's about an hour and a half. And I get a phone call. I missed the phone call. I didn't see the phone call. And I get a text message. Please call me. I need your help. And I'm like, well, I'm in Prescott. I don't have service. So unfortunately, I can't call you back right now. So then he calls again immediately. And I just had enough service. And I was like, hey, what's going on? He goes, so I'm working on a car. And I need your help. I was like, okay. He goes, I put a battery in the car. And I put the positive cable on. And I put the negative cable on. And it arced. And I was like, okay. Sometimes they'll do that. Like you get a little close to the thing and it arcs a little bit. No big deal. He's like, and then it started smoking from the middle of the engine. I was like, okay, so that's not good. What was smoking? First of all, did you unplug the cable again? Yeah, I took it right off. Okay. What was smoking? He's like, I don't know. It's a wire. I was like, okay. First question, is the battery backwards? No, definitely not. Can't be. Like, okay, we'll check it anyway. Oh, it's not. Okay. Well, I'm in Prescott, so I can't do anything to help you. Send me a picture of what was smoking, and maybe we can figure this out over the internet here, or over the phone. Sends me a picture. I see it's a Volvo red block, so I know we're working on an old Volvo, which I am now intimately familiar with between you and Jordan. I'm like, all right, well, we got an old Volvo here. I said, that looks like the power cord to the power cable to the alternator. He's like, okay. I was like, it looks really bad. Like, is that corrosion on there? I can't tell from the picture. If that's corrosion, maybe that's what caused the old battery to die. Maybe there's an issue with the wiring harness. And then when you put a fresh battery in there, it's just too much voltage for that old corroded harness. He goes, oh, well, how do we fix that? And I was like, well, let me get down there first. I said, but it should only be a short length of wire. It shouldn't be anything ridiculous. And we can either buy something pre-made at AutoZone, or I can put together, it looks like it's probably about a 10 gauge. I can put together a 10 gauge wire with a couple of eyelets on it. We can put something together. He's like, oh, okay, thank you. I'm like, all right, I'll be there this afternoon, but I'm not hurrying back down. This car's not like on the side of the road somewhere, right? He's like, no, it's in my mother-in-law's best friend's driveway. I'm like, okay. So I get down there, and I don't want to shame the man, but he knows what he did. And I walk up to the car, and I said, well, first of all, the battery's backwards. And he goes, no, it's not. I was like, no, 100% the battery's backwards. I said, this cable is positive, this is negative. He goes, well, I was always told the cable that goes to the car is the negative. I was like, you are correct. I said, but where does this go? He's like, oh, it goes to here, which I was like, and that goes back further. It doesn't go right to the car right here. I said, this one here goes right to the frame rail. He's like, oh. So what had happened was obviously he put the battery backwards, and he fried the wire going to the alternator, which is never good. So I was like, well, hopefully we can fix this situation and the car will start. And if it does, I'll still take that wire off. We'll build a new wire. So we had a quick little diagnostic on a 1988 Volvo 740 that is not a car that's very common here in Arizona. I don't know if they even sold them here. I mean, they must have, but none of them exist. And this car is absolutely immaculate. It's full, like if one of us saw this car for sale on Facebook Marketplace, we would probably buy it. So I made a promise to Naomi when I left that I wouldn't be buying a 1980s Volvo because we don't have space for it. So I didn't break the promise, but I did put a bug in the owner's ear that eventually when they're ready to sell it, I'll buy the car. And she said, no, I'll be buried in this thing. But anyway, I built a new wire for it. Quick project car update. It's like a 10 gauge, probably 7-inch length of wire. Put the battery properly. Car runs great. So number one, always make sure the dumbest thing is fixed first, right? Always use the easiest path of resistance to, I guess, the power. Use the easiest path of resistance, which is why there was a problem in the first place. But always look at the easiest thing first. So if you're working on a car, don't be afraid to know you could make mistakes, even if you're confident you didn't. So anyway, no big deal. Thankfully, the power, he unplugged it quick and didn't light up a fire. Didn't backfeed into the alternator and kill the alternator, and didn't kill anything in the car. Everything seems to work. So got away with one there. But now the project car updates here at the house. Well, I haven't done anything, Andrew.
Oh no.
Yeah. I've been doing a lot of work in the garage.
Okay, I'll take it.
But not on cars, on fixing the garage, like building the garage out. We did. I don't really know how to explain what I'm going for in the garage because I want it to be a garage. I'm not trying to have this be like a museum place.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I want it to be nice. I want to have like an area that's not dirty, working on cars full of stuff that's like where diecast can live and RC cars can live and the garage TV is. So Naomi and I went to IKEA last week and we're looking at some like storage shelving situation things, but not like industrial ones for tools and fluids, but ones for like to put under the television and have books and magazines and diecasts and the Xbox and the cable box and all that kind of stuff. So we got like this, I think it's 4 cubes by 4 cubes. It's like 54 inches wide. They're just like these open black cubes. So it's not like I wanted something that didn't look like furniture, but was furniture because I didn't want like house furniture really. So it's very basic looking. They're just these black cubes. And they sell, you can either put these like bins in them and fill with stuff, or you can use them as like bookshelves or whatever. So I picked up that and I built that this week and started filling that with some stuff. Got all my books and magazines that I've just been kind of like littering the house forever because they didn't have a home. Now I'll have a home out there. So there's like, the automotive library, I guess we'll call it. And then I took some time to start framing and hanging a bunch of, some of it's actual artwork and some of it we'll call artwork, even though it's just vintage advertisements that I've saved over the years. Just put them in some simple, cheap frames, and just kind of no theme to the frame, just whatever frame was cheap and available. I think that look is best for a garage. I'm not trying to go with anything too fancy. But I'm chasing this, like, not spend too much time making it not look like I spent not enough time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, you don't have to have
so-
all workbenches. You can have a workbench area and then a hangout area.
Yeah, that's kind of what it's going to be. So when you look at the front of the garage, there's the two doors. There's the shorter door on the left and the wider door on your right. So the shorter door is going to be where the single 2-post lift is going to be for, all the heavy work and wrenching and whatnot will be done in that bay. And the toolbox will go along the left side wall next to where you're working on the car. And then the back wall will have a workbench, a clean workbench for model cars and RC cars. And then the side wall where the toolbox is will have the workbench for, like, engine parts and greasy things. So, but that back section is going to have that model car workbench. That's going to be next to this little shelf with the books and stuff in it, and just kind of have like a little hangout area back there. At this moment in time, I'm trying to figure out what to do with seats in there for, like, comfortable sitting for people to come hang out. But right now I just have, I don't know if you're familiar with those zero gravity camping chairs.
I own several.
Yeah, have one of those in there, which is a great garage chair. If you're looking for a garage chair, I
up,
highly recommend
gets out of the
those. Folds up, gets out of the way, and it's like almost like a easy lounger in the middle of the room when you need it. So that's a great NASCAR watching garage chair. It's not what I used today because Naomi was using that next to me. I was in, like I said, the old Recaro that I picked up recently. So, which will not be able to be a garage chair because it's going to go in a car eventually. But knowing my track record, that will be a garage chair for a long time because it's going in a Starion, which is not in any way, shape, or form done. So
You could do the cool Top Gear thing where if you're at one of your cool pick and pull yards and you see something with cool seats that aren't really useful for anything else, you can pull the seats out of that junk car and make bases for them and have a...
Yeah, I actually had that thought because what's going to happen is the Starion buckets are going to go in the Ram 50, which will leave the Ram 50 bench seat, which could then become the garage seat.
Yeah, there you go, little garage love seat.
Yep. So that way 2 people can watch the TV. She can watch NASCAR with me. As much as I know she loves that. So she does. She enjoys watching NASCAR with me. Whether she enjoys the race or not, I don't know, but that's beside the point. So we'll have that's. I think that's the eventual plan because eventually the plan is to recover those Recaros in tan to match the Starion interior, and then put those Starion seats in the Mighty Max, and then move the Mighty Max seat out of the Mighty Max. So I keep saying, what do you think works best, Andrew, for quick conversation about that truck? Are we called a Ram 50 or called a Mighty Max?
I don't know. Mighty Ram?
Can I say Ram 50?
It's called the Mighty Ram.
Get confused because that doesn't help anything. That doesn't help the situation at all.
Why?
I'm just trying to make something that's easier for a general people when they ask what kind of vehicle.
It's a Mighty
it is.
Ram.
It's a Ram 50, and people are like, "A what?" Like basically a Mighty Max. Oh, okay.
Well,
Anyway,
I can't
the
help,
whole
can't help
thing,
that.
right?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that people don't know the obscure car that you're driving, Brad.
It's a horrible life choices I've made, Andrew. Can't help it. What can I say? But anyway, yeah, so I haven't done a lot of car projects. I've only done garage projects. I'm feeling good about the garage, though. The more things that I get in there, the more decorated things become, the more it feels like a completed space, the more it feels like a cool place to hang out, not just storage. And that's really, really nice. Now, for project car stuff that I can talk about, even though it's not my project car, we are working heavily on the Mustang.
Good.
So I hesitate to say this is my project because it's not. This is, Naomi's project. You can listen to old episodes and get the whole backstory on the car, but it's the 68 Mustang she came home from the hospital in. And what I'm trying to do is be there for additional hands or help when needed, and maybe some guidance when requested or needed, but I'm trying to be a little bit hands off. I don't want to take away her joy of working on the project, and this is
Sink or swim.
yeah.
You dodge a wrench,
wanna get-
you can fix the Mustang.
It's not even like that. Like a little philosophical here. Like I think back to me working on cars with somebody who knows more about that particular project than I do. So we'll use in this example somebody that we all know, you and me. And if I'm working on a car with you, and this is no detriment to you, this is just the example in the story I'm using. If I'm working on a car with you, you are a more experienced wrench than I am. And you have a tendency to get in there and do the thing instead of watching somebody else figure out how to do the thing.
It now,
No,
as I've gotten older, though, it now depends on the mood I'm in. If I'm in a teaching mood, then I will teach people. But yes,
okay.
I used to.
Well,
I used to just take over and do it, but now
100% you did, yes. And that's the Andrew that I'm used to. So I'm now in that role where I've taken apart tons of cars, front suspension pieces, right? And I'm watching her do it and trying not to be like, don't do it this way, do it that way, because I also know that she's not going to respond positively to that because she wants to figure it out on her own. Now, we've been together now for what, like 7 years plus? So I've learned, we've learned how each other works. And one of those ways is let the other person do their thing because we're both stubborn and we're both big jerks when it comes to being stubborn. So I'm waiting to be asked for help and waiting to be asked for advice. And that's been difficult. But I think you'll have to ask her. I guess we'll have her on to discuss how I'm doing later on. But I think I'm doing pretty good with that. And I think I'm really kind of getting my the right amount of help, basically. I don't want to be able to say like I had no hand in this project because obviously I do have a hand in the project, but I want her to be able to say that she restored the car herself and that's her car and that's where it's at.
well, this is welcome to parenting. This is you got to let them do
It's
stuff a little bit.
Sure,
And
it's not parenting though because we're both adults,
right? But you're teaching, and you
And-
don't want to. You can let them figure it out, and then
What I'm saying, Andrew, is it doesn't fit my personality. It's very difficult. Please pat me on the back. That's what I'm saying.
yeah, to a point where if you see somebody making a bad mistake, just like hold on, can I just?
Oh,
And that's where you're like,
100%.
can I just show you one way to do this?
And 100%. And that's what I'm not. That's what I say. Parenting makes it almost sound like pandering to not pandering, but like it's demoralizing. So I'm not parenting. It's not parenting. It's me learning to
It's
not
not 80s
be
parenting.
pushy.
I'm talking about modern parenting.
Right. Yeah. It's not 80s parenting where you just tell the kid to go away. No. So and that's exactly what's happening. Is if I see something that I think is going to be a big mistake, obviously I would say something like we were working on the suspension and she jacked the car up and she didn't do anything wrong. It was just, and then as she was moving the bolt, I saw the car was like rocking because as she jacked the control arm up, she actually lifted the body of the car off the jack stand, which is something that like, having worked on cars for many, many years, I know to look out for. And her being this her first restoration project, she's got to look out for us. It's like, hey, we should probably be careful because the car's not stable. So anyway, it's just, I am basically saying that I'm proud of myself and please pat me on the back, Andrew. That's all. It's
Well,
working. It's happening.
Good.
Things are happening.
You're doing good.
The entire front suspension is 100% out of the car. As we speak right now, she's outside taking the steering box off the frame rail. And that was when I last left her. So I'm sure it's probably done by now.
Hopefully not crushed in the car.
Jesus Christ, Andrew. Don't even say that. No, it's not going to be crushed into the car. Plus, there are 2 sets of jack stands and the front tires under the frame rails. So even if the car does fall, it has a lot of hard things to go through before it lands on some people.
That's my favorite tip to people working in their driveway. Take the wheel off. When you've taken the wheel off, just throw it under the frame rail of the car.
Yep.
Or the pinch weld. And
yep.
Sure, you'll ruin the wheel and tire, but it'll keep the car
You'll be
off of
alive to
you.
buy another one. Yeah, you'll be alive to work for a
Yeah.
week to earn the money to buy another one. Yeah, it's not a
Yeah,
worry
it'll give you a
at
little bit of
all.
space if the car fell.
Yep. Yeah. So that's the car is set up that way. There's a jack stand at where the frame rail goes underneath the firewall. That's where the main jack stands are on both sides. Behind that, there's two more jack stands that are not extended up all the way. They're just there to like catch the car. And then behind that are tires. So there's plenty of extra stability back there. Especially because we also have current living situation has 5 dogs in my house. And I would hate for a dog to run around to the car and hit jack stands and knock things around, and have a car crush a dog would also be like worst nightmare. So I made sure that everything is very steady back there. I'm not comfortable with cars on jack stands. I never have been. So I'm always extra with them. So I'm sure you remember me jacking cars up like 5 or 6 times before I will go underneath it, because I'm always frustrated with that. I just don't want to die, Andrew. I don't know what it is. Something about death doesn't sound appealing. Usually. Sometimes, when you're working on the car, the sweet release of death might be okay. But
Maybe.
when you're prepping to work on the car, you want to finish the job and not die. So I haven't... I'm extra careful with that. That being said, she's out there doing that right now. All the front suspension is off. The plan has been hatched of what we're doing with front suspension parts. Do you know what it would cost for you to replace Andrew, if you will? 2 lower control arms, tension rods, shock absorbers, shock absorber mounts, all of the steering equipment. So pitman arm, idler arm, center link, tie rods, inner and outer, both sides, and do a front disc brake conversion from drums on a 68 Mustang. Parts cost, obviously. So that's basically, it's every component in the suspension except for the knuckles, and all new brake assemblies, including discs and calipers.
I don't know, $1,200.
You're on the money with shipping. It's somewhere a little under that, like $1,100 for the whole entire front end. Like, it's amazing how much stuff is available for these cars. So we were going back and forth about, how do we save this? Can we, get the sandblasted and we'll paint it? It's like, no, we're just going to replace everything. Like, it would take more time and money, and almost as much money, to restore the parts we have than it would to just buy brand new ones.
You can sell the old stuff if you really wanted to, I guess.
I'm sure we could, but I don't know who's going to buy it because it's old. Like, it's all mismatched. The right front of the car was actually a nightmare to take apart because at some point it looks like it was driven into something very hard, like a rock or a parking pole or something. The right front tension rod was actually bent. The pocket that it goes into was all twisted and impossible to remove things from. And that particular side was adjusted like 3 inches beyond the other side to compensate for the bends. So it's just best, I think, just to get rid of it all. So it's all going away. And we're going to do a whole new front suspension. So by this point next week, I hope that we will have the entire firewall forward will be painted in chassis black.
Nice.
So, and then it just becomes an assembly process. We put new suspension in, put the engine in, and then move on from there. So we're getting somewhere. The hope is to have it back on its wheels before it gets super hot here.
Nice.
So that way we can roll it in and out of the garage and work on it in the garage during the summertime. So that's the hope. Also requires getting rid of the Mercor that's currently parked in the spot where the working bay is. And hopefully that happens soon too.
Swap one Ford for the other.
Yeah, swap one terrible, awful Ford for one good Ford. I mean, one good Ford for one good Ford. Please buy the Mercor. I just got a door handle for that finally too. So I can replace that broken passenger's door handle. So that's the real project car update around here, Andrew, is we're working on the Mustang. So
Cool.
I missed a step. We have to do seam sealer next. We're going to take off all the old seam sealer because a lot of it's broken and brittle and cracked, and re-seam seal all of the front structure of the car.
Nice.
Not a full resto, just a make things nice while you're at that part of the car and make the car run and drive correctly. So that's where we're at. Anything else going on, Andrew?
Not much. That's pretty much it.
We had a Kyosha club here today.
That sounds cool. I keep seeing those on Instagram. I'm like, man, I really want to go to one of those.
Today's was the biggest ever. It was at its second location where it's been once before, but I missed it. And it was probably, I would say, a half a mile long stretch of road. Cars parked entirely up and down both sides. Like, not parked like parallel, but parked like angle in parking. And then the central section where they were like feature cars. Now, I will say that we've talked ad nauseum on this show in the past about elitism and invite-only sections. The way this section is done is perfect, I think. And I don't really have a definition as to why it works without offending me, but it does. So what the center parking section is only parking in the main area, like the little vendors are. There's coffee and breakfast sandwiches and like Kyosha Club t-shirts and stuff. And the music and whatnot. Where that section is, you've probably seen pictures from the other location where there's an indoor parking section. This is the same thing, but it's still outdoors. The guy who runs Kyosha Club, Keith Ross, he doesn't do like a predetermined, like these cars are going in the central parking. He just flags cars in, and he flags cars in based on, hey, that's a cool car, and it's never been here before.
That's a good metric.
Yep. So the majority of the cars that get feature parking are cars that haven't been there before, unless it gets to a point where there aren't enough cars to fill the spot, and then somebody else who knows him or is a friend might get in. But whatever, that's cool. But yeah, the metric basically is interesting car, clean, shiny, good build, modified or fully restored that hasn't been featured in the main section before. So that metric, totally cool with it. That totally works. So as long as you know that's the metric, I guess you could get mad if you're like, why did that car get in there, not my car? I heard some of that today, which was irritating, but
I don't know.
You can't please everybody.
Keith didn't like it today.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Keith said you suck. Get out of here.
Oh, maybe not that. It's just like,
No, it's not that bad. I like Keith, and it's certainly an unenviable position to have to make those choices. So he does a good job, and it's good variety. And there was only one car that got feature parking today that I have seen in feature parking before, and it's because it's a legit twin cam Hakasuga GTR. Like that car should always get feature parking. It's a legendary car, so it's fine. I'll allow it. Why? Again, no definition. It's just I know it's right. So, and as far as events go, save the date. October 25th is going to be round 2 or year 2 of the Arizona Rising Sun Rally. So,
cool.
Glutton for punishment. We're doing it again. Run it back. It'll be the same basic deal as last year. There'll be a t-shirt, probably a lunch, probably a dinner, and all your planning for the day. I'm sure there'll be stickers and sponsors and all the same stuff as last year, just new stuff this year. And it's all the planning is starting this morning at Kyosha Club. So it's all coming together, but the date's going to be the 25th. So keep that date in your head if you're local to Phoenix, or if you want to come to Phoenix to run the event. So it should be a good time. We're going to start planning some routes this week.
Cool.
So, yep.
I guess, yeah, quick programming note. Been a little bit off because we've been trying to do stuff. We're trying to record one more time this week because then we'll be probably dark for like 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks. I am going to Japan. So
which is rad.
yes, I'm going to do a bunch of car stuff in
I'm
Japan. So
yeah. Program note: I'll be in a suitcase, so I'll also be going to
Yeah.
Japan.
So yeah, I'll be doing some car stuff with some other just plain old touristy stuff. Be bringing my camera. Bought a new camera. Actually, it's a little bit smaller to travel with than my big motorsports camera. It also does videos, so maybe I'll do a little voice recordings for the podcast or something. One of the first places I'm going is Fuji, to the Fuji Speedway, because the Fuji Speedway Museum has an exhibit that ends like 2 days after I get to Japan. It's all Japanese rally cars, and I believe on display right now is one of the Safari Galant VR4s. So
I'm just going to show up.
I want to go.
You don't know it yet, Andrew, but I'm just going to show up. And I'm going to be there.
Okay.
I'm so jealous right now. I'm just going to crash your family trip.
It'd be fun. Either way. Then there's like this driving thing you can do at Fuji Speedway. It's not like the Nürburgring though, where it's just like this lead follow thing. It's kind of like basically Toyota test driving, because it's like there's like definitely some Gran Turismo sponsorship going on and like Toyota, but I reserved for like $50. I can drive for 3 laps. Is it the Corolla, the GR, the Morio version?
Yeah, Maurizio, but that's not right. That's on Italian. Yeah,
Mike, I haven't driven one yet, so that'll be cool. It'll be right-hand drive. They have to do like a test, like a half hour beforehand, so I can show them I can drive a manual. I think I'll be all right.
Maurizio, Morizo.
And because like I was like, well, what is like doing actual laps there, like a track day? But they don't. That sort of exists, but it's $10,000 for like 30 minutes. And I was like, yeah, no, I'm not doing that.
If only you hadn't bought that new camera.
Yeah, well, the Nürburgring is a bargain compared to that. So
yeah, it's not even close to that. So it's way more than 30 minutes.
Yeah, so I'll do the maybe it's not 30 minutes, but it was some outrageously low amount of time for some insanely expensive. It was when you get into the million yen, you're like, what is that conversion? And you're like, oh, that's tens of thousands of dollars. So
do I get to keep the car?
Yeah,
because it's a lot of money.
Yeah, I'll just do I'll drive around the track. I'll do some lead follow laps. That's fine. And then
just to say you drove Fuji Speedway, regardless of how fast you drove, it is amazing.
There's also a thing. Apparently, if you like book a massage, so Stephanie gets to take a massage, and then we get to test drive some special edition GR86 that they only made like 100 of. It's like the Nürburgring edition.
This seems like a timeshare scam.
No, it's just like you get a 4-hour drive. You can just drive it around the roads around the Fuji area. Just take it for a test drive.
Goddamn.
Okay. I'll do that. It's like, it's just funny. It's not just like a way to bookend it. It's some edition that was tested and developed at the Nürburgring, but I could drive it at the Fuji Speedway area. So it's like, sure. I haven't driven one of those before either.
Andrew gets to the airport. Why is my 50-pound luggage 239 pounds? Oops, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm gonna smuggle you back into Japan using that Carlos.
The Carlos Ghosn thing. Yeah, bring me in a tuba case or whatever it was. Exactly. I'm in, regardless. So cool.
Yeah, so cool. And then I'm definitely gonna go to Toyota Museum. Several hobby shops I'm going to go to. And yeah, just eat a lot of ramen and
several hobby shops. So it's a good thing you didn't spend that 10 grand on the drive, because now you have 10 grand to spend at hobby shops. That's how it works, right?
I mean, it's not going to be 10 grand, but it's going to be some amount of dollars will be spent.
Yes.
Because apparently you show them your US passport, you don't pay taxes on stuff. So, and the yen is very weak still. So The conversion is
Yeah,
in your
you'd be
favor.
able to get some pretty good deals for sure on some stuff.
Yeah, I'm gonna. I don't know if I'll be able to fill a
You're
suitcase.
gonna have to walk around with Facebook Messenger open to video, and then just point at things, and I'll say yes or no, and you put them in the thing, and I'll pay for shipping for a second box full of stuff.
Yeah,
So
I'm probably
totally
gonna ship a DHL box home because DHL has good rates from Japan. And
so rad.
Yeah, definitely. There's at least 2 RC cars I want to buy while I'm there, so because they'll be cheaper.
Yeah, and get a second DHL box because there's 2 or 3 that I need to buy as well. So hook me up, Andrew.
Hey, we'll see.
This is honestly, this is so cool. This is a bucket list trip for me. I'm glad you're getting to do it. I truly am. I'm not jealousy is not the right word. Like I'm happy that you're getting to do it.
I mean, once I know how, I'm sure I'll want to go again. And then
when you go the second time, I am 100% going with you for sure. But yeah, I'm not gonna crash your family trip this time. I've done that enough. So
you'd be welcome anyways. It's fun.
I'm sure, but yeah, next time for sure. So if I hadn't just built a garage and had $0.0 left, I'd maybe think about it. But
it'll be interesting. My flight home is 12 hours, but I leave at like 6:30 on a Friday night, Tokyo, and I arrive in Boston 6:30 on Friday night.
On the same night?
Yeah.
Rad.
It's within like 20 minutes or something.
So that means you're adding 12 hours to your life.
Yeah, it's really fun. It's really gonna mess me up. I'm like, that's why we're coming in on a Friday, so I have like 2 days to like try to recover.
I bet 2 days won't be enough. But Monday morning, you'll wake up for work and you'll be like, today's work from home day.
Yeah. We'll see.
So cool. Yeah, I'm like I said, jealousy is not the right word. I'm super stoked you're going. I'm envious that you're going is probably a better word. I hope you have an amazing time and see all the cool car stuff. The museums are what I want to go for. Like, there's so much cool car culture there, but looking at these museums and seeing all these things that are in these museums, it's just all the cars we drove in Gran Turismo are at these museums. And that to me is absolutely amazing. So, yep.
All right, cool.
I have another friend leaving for Japan in October, so jealous twice. Envious twice. So,
all right. Well, if you want to keep up to date with it, come join our Discord because I'm sure I'll be popping in there at weird hours and throwing up pictures of Japanese stuff. So yeah, come join our Discord. We are Auto Off Topic Podcast on Facebook, Auto Off Topic on Instagram and Threads. I am Erased and Anger on Instagram and Threads. I'm also on Blue Sky hanging out. And Brad, where can I find you?
Just still at Instagram, really occasionally on Threads, but not very often. At the same username at both, TSISS350. And of course, you can find us at Scale Autocast on Instagram as well, occasionally.
Yeah, I've been working on that element, so there's some pictures of that up there. All right, cool. As always, keep cars analog and aim for the roses.